When was the last time you trusted yourself? Like, actually trusted yourself? If you're someone who constantly looks outside yourself for reassurance, asking others what to do, wondering if you're doing life the right way, feeling anxious about every decision, this video is for you. My intention is that by the end of this video, you feel calm, grounded, and inspired to move through your day with more self-trust. I'm here to support you in that, not by telling you what you should do, but by offering a few concrete tools. You'll have free access to my resource library along with a simple teaching you can apply as soon as this video ends. And if you've been watching my videos, thank you, truly. It means more to me than I can put into words. For a long time, I held much of this wisdom and these realizations close to my chest, knowing that they wouldn't sit well with everyone. So to hear from women who resonate, who feel seen or comforted by what I'm sharing, is more than I ever expected. And if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Allie. I am a teacher, a mom, and a yoga instructor living in the Midwest with my family. I'm currently pregnant with my second baby, and I make videos about slowing down and living your life with intention. Life is full of decisions, questions, choices, constant forks in the road. When I first entered adulthood, I was notorious for looking outside myself for answers. Unsure for a second? Google it. What do I text back? Ask 5 friends. Am I doing this right? Ask the teacher. As a school teacher myself, I seen this same pattern every day in my classroom. Students come to me before they've even tried, asking if they're thinking about it the right way, before giving themselves a chance to trust their own understanding. Zooming out, this makes sense. In a society full of addictions, phones, shopping, fast food, alcohol, drugs, I'd argue reassurance seeking is one of the most normalized ones. And it isn't really our fault. We've been raised in a world of hierarchy, even as we pretend we've outgrown it. We're taught, subtly and explicitly, that people with degrees, titles, credentials, and numbers hold the answers to our lives. Trust the expert. Listen to the professional. For a long time, I thought that being mature and responsible meant doing what I was told, following the rules, and making the right choice. But in this video, I want to share how my life changed when I stopped looking everywhere else for answers, other people, books, experts, systems, and started turning inward instead. I've always had a bit of a rebel spirit and a tendency to see through the masquerades that systems and sometimes people hide behind. And yet, there were many moments in my life when I didn't trust that instinct. Instead, I looked for approval from people who seemed to know better than I did. I don't think I'm alone in that. Many of us move through the world surrounded by experts, institutions, and constant information. And somewhere along the way, we lose the ability to slow down and trust our own awareness. Of course, there are times when we should learn from others, but learning from someone should never require us to abandon our own inner sense of truth. I started to understand this during my senior year of college when I was accepted into a prestigious graduate program. At first, I felt intimidated, surrounded by older, highly credentialed people. But it didn't take long for me to realize something important. They were still just people. Intelligent and accomplished, maybe, but still human with blind spots and limitations. Around that time, I also began questioning why my writing or my ideas needed to be validated by a handful of professors before they were considered worthwhile. But the most powerful lessons about trusting myself didn't come from school. They came through my health. I struggled with anxiety and depression from a young age, and like many families, we turned to professionals for answers. Diagnoses were given, medications were prescribed. I once had a therapist tell me that this was simply who I was, that I should accept being an anxious, depressed person rather than explore why. But something in me knew that wasn't the whole story. Still, the habit of looking outside myself for reassurance had been deeply ingrained. I was constantly asking, am I okay? Am I safe? Am I enough? And instead of looking inward, I searched everywhere else: teachers, doctors, media, friends, even strangers online. I see this pattern everywhere now. People allowing the world to define who they are through labels, number, diagnoses, or expectations. But if we want real peace, and I would argue real health, we eventually have to question those definitions and begin listening to ourselves again. A friend and I recently started a book club in our area with others who are also interested in ideas around womanhood, intentional living, and slowing down. Right now we're reading Women Who Run with the Wolves. If you're not familiar with it, the book explores old myths and stories about women's intuition, instincts, creativity, and inner wisdom. The parts of us that modern life often suppresses or pathologizes. At its heart, the book is about remembering how to trust yourself again, how to listen to your body, how to reconnect with the parts of you that may have gone quiet over time. I'll link it in the description if you're curious. Early in the book, Clarissa Pinkola Estes tells the story of Bluebeard. In the story, a young woman falls in love and marries a man who gives her the keys to his castle. He tells her she may open every room except one. But something in her pulls her towards that door. When she opens it, the key begins to bleed. No matter how much she scrubs it, the blood will not disappear. Inside the room, she discovers the truth. Something is deeply wrong. What I love about this story is how simple the message is. Her body knows before her mind can explain it. The bleeding key is her intuition. It refuses to let her ignore what she already senses. And I think many of us recognize that feeling. Our bodies are constantly speaking to us through tightness, exhaustion, anxiety, or that quiet sense that something isn't quite right. But many of us were taught to override those signals instead of listening. And yet, listening is where healing begins. Turning inward can feel uncomfortable at first, but it's the only place real change actually starts. Let me paint you a picture. Your inner world works a lot like a thermostat. Most of us are living with settings we never consciously chose. The temperature was set years ago by school, culture, family, expectations, and the things we were praised for. Once the setting is in place, the system runs automatically. It keeps adjusting your life to match that old temperature, even when it no longer feels right. Your body is how you know the setting is off. Anxiety, exhaustion, tightness, burnout. These aren't failures, they're signals. Your system is saying, this temperature doesn't fit anymore. Listening is how you change the setting. When you slow down and tune in, you begin to reset the inner environment. And when the inner setting changes, the outer experience eventually follows. But many of us try to reverse the order. We keep trimming the leaves and wondering why the plant isn't thriving without ever tending to the roots. Real change happens underground first, quietly and slowly, before it ever appears on the surface. So what can you do right now to reclaim your own truth and start the journey inward? I've linked a free resource library below where you can explore some practical and accessible tools, including journaling prompts, exercises for reconnecting with your values, and ways to refocus your days. In a moment, I want to leave you with one small shift you can try as soon as this video ends. But first, if this video spoke to you, I'd love it if you liked and subscribed. And if you comment the word intention below, I'll send you a code for $20 off my workshop, A Soft Return to Self-Care, so you can join for $17 instead of $37. One simple place to start is with an energy audit. Notice what's draining you, what feels heavy or tight, and instead of pushing through, ask a different question. What is my body asking for right now that I'm not listening to? Start small. The other day I was exhausted but still trying to finish the dishes because I wanted that quiet approval. Good mom, good wife. Instead of pushing through, I paused and checked my own thermostat. What I needed wasn't help, it was a rest. So I sat down in a quiet room for 10 minutes. Nothing dramatic, but it completely changed the tone of the evening. When you begin listening to yourself in small ways like that, something shifts. You stop searching everywhere else for reassurance. You start noticing what your body has been trying to tell you all along. And slowly, that relationship with yourself begins to change. So I'll leave you with the same question we started with. When was the last time you truly trusted yourself? Not what the internet said, not what an expert said, not what someone else expected of you, but what you knew. Maybe that moment is closer than you think. Maybe it begins today. More soon.